Morgan Show. Yes, the Henry Morgan Show with Arnold Stang, Bert Kelton, Art Carney, Milton Kingdom's Orchestra, conducted by Norman Cloutier, the Billy Williams Quartet, and me, Ed Hurley. And here's the star of the Henry Morgan Show, standing on his favorite corner in front of the cigar store.
Good evening, anybody. Here's Morgan. Very good. Thank you for your magnificent optimism. Well, I beg your pardon. In 2 days, you probably know, it'll be spring, officially, the time of year when young men are saying 2 things to their girlfriends. I love you and Gesundheit. Yes, spring brings with it the IPOD code. So, as a public service, here are a few helpful hints on the care and treatment of a cold. This is really a public service. Now, at the first sign of a cold, take any of the following miracle drugs. Nanahist, banana hist, banana in a hist, banana in a unihist, neo banana in a unihist, or the real new one, sulfur and molasses hist. There is also a cold pill called assist hist. It's a 2-color job. It comes in blue and green. Now, the makers of assist hist believe in feeding a cold and starving a fever. So the blue tablets contain corned beef for feeding the cold, and the green pills contain nothing for starving the fever. Of course, these pills have to be taken at the first sign of a cold. The first sign is when your head feels all stuffed, and the last sign is, well, we all have to go sometime. Now, here are a few don'ts if you already have a cold or if you want to avoid a cold. Don't kiss. Ladies, when the mailman brings you the mail in the morning, shake hands with him instead. Now, here's another tip. Try not to breathe on the subway. The thing to do, take a deep breath when you get on and let it out at your station. Like this. In this way, you will protect the other passengers, and they will be very grateful to you and say, we have the purple man in the corner to thank for this. But the best way to fight a cold is to keep telling yourself, I don't have a cold. I don't have a cold. I don't have a cold. I'm perfectly adorable and in tip-top shape. And anybody who tells me I got a cold is out of his mind. Because, you see, a cold is psychological. It's all in the head, and before you know it, you'll be fine. You'll feel that... Oh, excuse me. Here comes my friend Gerard. Maybe I'll catch something from him. Hello, Gerard.
Hiya.
Hey. Huh? What's that you got in your hands, Gerard? Looks like blue paint.
Blue paint. Ridiculous. Why should I have blue paint on my hands?
Well, then, what is it?
Green paint.
Well, how come you got paint all over your hands?
Because I was painting.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? I'm proud of you. You've taken up painting. There's nothing more exciting and satisfying than taking a brush and raw paint and creating.
Suiting you.
Well, I mean, it's a wonderful hobby. It calls on your imagination and your taste and your sensitivity, your inner feeling for things.
Hank. You don't have to get so sexy about it.
I apologize. All right. What did you paint?
My kitchen chair.
Now, all along I thought you were talking about painting pictures.
Sure, I painted a picture of my kitchen chair.
Your kitchen chair. Isn't that kind of lifeless?
No, my father was sitting in it.
Well, then you painted a picture of your father.
Well, first I painted the chair, see?
Mm-hmm.
Then I started on my father, but I couldn't paint his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I couldn't paint his body either.
So?
So I got a picture of a kitchen chair with 6 legs. 2 of them is wearing sneakers.
Oh. Well, what did you name the picture?
Well, I called it Whistler's father.
But your name isn't Whistler.
Who's to know?
Yeah. But isn't it kind of a dull painting, just a kitchen chair?
Not the way I painted it. You see, right across the whole picture, I painted a great big arrow.
An arrow? Why?
Hank, every painting's got to have a message. That's my message.
What's the message?
This way to the living room.
See you around, Gerard.
What?
Well, better get over to NBC, see if there are any messages for me from either sponsors. Taxi! Hey, taxi! Good evening, anybody. As a permanent new feature of this program, we present each week a new up-and-coming personality chosen by us as the Man of the Week. So, our Man of the Week for tonight is that rising heavyweight fighter, Sailor Carney. And here he is, Sailor Carney. Well, Sailor, I understand that because of your recent victories, you're in line for a crack at the heavyweight title. Is that right?
What?
What'd you say?
That's right.
Yeah. How did you get the name Sailor? I suppose it's because you're in the Navy, isn't it?
No.
No. Well, how did you get the name Sailor?
Well, like it's a nickname. See, I got like a tattoo on my arm, so the guys started calling me Sailor.
Well, Sailor, boxing fans everywhere are interested in your sudden rise, so let's get some of your background.
Want to see the tattoo?
Well, later, yeah. Right now, I'm sure our listeners would like to know about the fights you've had, how many knockouts, and so forth.
It's an anchor.
What?
The tattoo is an anchor.
Oh. Well, we'll get to that in just a moment.
Underneath the anchor, it's his mother.
Oh, all right, Sailor.
That's how come they call me Sailor.
I know, yeah.
My mother was in the Navy.
Well, now, Sailor, I suppose you're very grateful for being in such a favored spot as a heavyweight fighter.
Well, I'll say.
Hmm?
Well, I'll say.
Sailor, when you hear that first gong and the crowd begins to roar and you step into the ring, what exactly goes through your mind at that moment?
Nothing.
Oh, you must think of something.
Yeah.
Sailor, you've been such an inspiration to the kids of America. I'd like you to say a word to them now.
I would be glad to. Mr. Morgan. Kids, everybody is interested in the manly art of self-defense. It is a game in which you do not always depend on brawn. Game in which you do not always depend on brawn. No, kids. It is a mathematical game as well. So remember, fight clean and fight hard. But above all, think.
Thank you, Sailor Carney.
Let me see, what do I think about?
Nothing, and thanks again. It's the Billy Williams Quartet, and You're Driving Me Crazy.
Well, you're driving me crazy. What did I do? what did I do? My tears for you make everything hazy, clouding the skies of blue. Well, how true were the friends who were near me to cheer me, believe me, they knew. How about you? How were the kind who would hurt me, desert me when I needed you? Oh, you're driving me crazy. What did I do? What did I do to you? Me? You make everything hazy. Cloudy skies, cloudy skies, cloudy the sky so blue. Oh, blue. But the friends who were near me, cheer me, they knew. But you were the kind who would hurt me when I needed you. Me? What did I do? 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 Oh, you think I'm crazy. I ask you, what did I do? I ask you, what did I do to you? I ask you, what did I do to you?
You know, a lot of people... Well, I get enthusiastic. I'm entitled. You know, a lot of people who go to the movies very often leave during the newsreel. No particular reason. That's when they're going. Now, for the benefit of those people who would like to leave now, we present our own newsreel with worldwide coverage of up-to-the-minute news. Ed Herlihy, will you be the voice?
Glad to, Henry. Wogan's Movie News. Peace negotiations between the striking ironworkers approach the final settlement. Here are the president of the company and the head of the union in the conference room busily working out the details of their agreement.
All right.
Take that. No, you take that.
Washington. President Truman is the principal speaker at the annual convention of buttermilk producers.
Mr. Chairman, delegates to this great convention, fellow Americans, Bess. I have always been a firm believer in buttermilk. Nothing can help us help ourselves like buttermilk. If we are to set an example for the rest of the world, if we are to avoid another terrible depression, if we are to succeed as the number one economy, then I say to you, we must drink buttermilk. Ooh! That isn't nice, Bess.
Out in sunny California, inventor Clyde Claybowl is firmly convinced that man can fly without an airplane. Here you see Mr. Claybowl all ready to take off. That queer bat-like contraption he's holding is what he calls the Claybowlocopter. But let him explain it to you.
Yeah, there's a Claybowlocopter, named it after myself. All came by one day, I said to my wife, Mary Lou, I said, my wife, I said, did you ever notice a bird in flight got wings just like an airplane? I said, well, first thing you know,
And just to prove he has the courage of his convictions, there goes Clyde and his wife to the roof of their barn. He fastens on the wings, Now, one big push, and off! Guess I pushed it too hard, huh, Mary? Yes, another miracle of modern aviation and good old California know-how. Women's spring fashions make their debut in a preview showing. Adelaide Neely describes some of the new styles.
Here's a lovely creation milady will soon be wearing. A matching lizard outfit. The suit is genuine lizard, and the hat, purse, shoes, gloves, stockings, and lipstick are all genuine lizard. Just the thing for stepping out with a lizard. And girls, it's an all-year-round suit. At the end of the year, you don't even have to take it off. It sheds.
From the world of sports. Madison Square Garden sees the annual indoor track meet. 14 ace track stars begin the cruising 16-mile steeplechase. And they're off! At the finish, there is only one man left. He is Curtis Newman of Michigan, who wins in the sparkling time of 6 hours and 48 minutes. Curtis, how does it feel to win this long, grueling race? Morgan's movie news, the eyes, ears, toes, and throat of the world.
What's on the scoreboard? Oh, yes. Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite. With the Bernie Green treatment, with Norman Cloutier on the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, many people with personal problems come to this program seeking advice and assistance. For the benefit of these people, we present our own court of inhuman relations. And here is our counselor on personal problems, John J. Morgan.
Good evening.
Our first case, Mr. Morgan, is that of Mr. P.L.
Yes, go on.
Mr. Morgan, for a long time I've been out of work. My wife is mad at me. She wants to leave me. My home is being broken up. We're always fighting. The kids are wandering around the streets. I'm a nervous wreck.
Yes, go on.
That's all.
And what is your problem?
All of those. They're all my problems.
I'm sorry, you're only allowed one problem on this program. Please, don't touch the microphone. Would you choose a problem, please?
Well, my home is being broken up.
Why?
Well, I've been out of work. My wife is mad at me. She wants to leave me. We're always fighting. The kids
No. Would you stop trying to sneak in those other problems?
All right. My home is being broken up.
Would you stop repeating that? That's a very uninteresting problem.
Sorry.
Now, you mentioned a moment ago that for some time you've been an international spy and the FBI is closing in.
Me? No.
Come now. This is completely confidential.
That isn't my problem.
I understand that. But that was the problem presented on the program 3 weeks ago by a Mr. M.V., and I received many letters from my listeners telling me how much they enjoyed Mr. M.V.'s problem. So I thought I'd repeat it again tonight. Now, how did you first become a spy?
But I didn't. My problem is, for a long time, I've been out of work. My wife is mad at me. She wants to leave me. My home is being broken
Mr.
up.
P.L., please.
Hey, the kids are wandering around the streets.
Now, Mr. P.L., my advice to you is to go home. Go home and become an international spy. When the FBI starts closing in, please come back here with that problem. Next case. All right. Yes. Very best of luck to you, you miserable creature. Next case.
Our next case, Mr. Morgan, is that of Mr. L.D.
Yes, go on.
Mr. Morgan, I am 19 years old, and I live with my mother.
Just a moment, sir. Let us start from the beginning, shall we? You are 19 years old?
Yes, sir.
And this woman, how long has she been your mother?
19 years.
In other words, you know this woman all your life, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And precisely what is this woman to you?
She is my mother.
Am I to understand from that she married your father?
Yes, sir.
I see. She is a relative by marriage. Why do I have to drag all these things out of you? Well, go on.
Well, my mother still treats me like a baby. She won't let me go out nights or see girls.
Why do you want to see girls?
Morgan.
Please, stop clutching the microphone. Go on.
Well, whenever I want to do anything at all, my mother gets up on her high horse.
You live in a stable, do you?
Not.
No. Well, then where does your mother keep her horse?
She has no horse.
Oh, I see. It's your horse, then. You bought a horse rather than spend money on your poor old mother, is that it?
I never bought a horse, Mr. Morgan.
I see. You stole it. Go on.
No, there is no horse, Mr.
My
Morgan.
dear sir, your whole story is a tissue of lies. It's quite apparent from what you've told me thus far that you are an ungrateful son, a liar, and a horse thief. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to see your gray-haired little mother. Is that poor, wretched creature here?
Yes, sir. She's over there.
Madam, would you come up here, please? Thank you. Now, tell us in your own words, madam, why you and your son don't get along.
He's a weasel.
See, she calls me names, too.
Young man, that's not true. Go on, madam.
He's a no-good, low-down little pest.
He's also a horse thief.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Young man, why do you mistreat your mother?
But I don't mistreat.
Shut up, you horse thief.
Madam, you must be brave.
Mr. Morgan, she makes my life miserable. Whenever I ask her for things, she hits me.
What sort of things?
Food.
What a terrible thing to accuse your own dear mother of hitting you.
That's telling him, J.J.
I would never believe a son could say such a thing.
Give it to him, kid.
You should be ashamed.
Yeah, you little snitcher.
Ow, Ma.
Stop shouting at your mother.
Mr. Morgan, she hit me.
I'm sure she had a good reason. Why did you hit him, madam?
Because he's a dirty little weasel.
Young man, I want you to go home. Go home and apologize to your mother
For what?
for being a dirty little weasel, and that's my advice to you. Next case,
Mr. Morgan, this is Mrs. J.W.
yes, go on.
Mr. Morgan, I married a drunk, a beast, and a bum.
I see. And which of these three men did you marry first?
No, I'm only married to one man.
Yes. And the other two you're just running around with. Is that right?
No, they're all the same.
Well, in that case, why don't you just stick to your husband and let the other two go?
You don't understand. My husband mistreats me.
I see. He's the beast.
He certainly is.
Now, how about the drunk? Does he mistreat you too?
When he's drunk, he's even worse.
And the bum mistreats you too?
Mr. Morgan, they're all the same.
Well, in that case, my advice to you is to forget about them and run around with three other men.
Well, what about my husband?
No, I'm afraid that he'd look foolish running around with three other men.
Mr. Morgan, I haven't told you my problem. You see, I'm in love with another man.
Only one?
That's right.
You want to know whether you should leave these three men for this one man?
Not three men, just my husband.
I see. You want to keep the other two besides this... as I reconstruct this thing here, we're trying to go back as far as I can. You want to keep the first two besides this new man. Why is that? Is three your lucky number?
What?
I said, madam, is three your lucky number?
No, my lucky number's 7.
No, madam, I'm afraid you're far too ambitious. Madam, there is only one thing for you to do. Go home. Go home to those three men who love you, and try, madam. Try to be a good wife to whichever one you're married to, and that is my advice to you. Good night.
Listen again to John J. Morgan's Court of Inhuman Relations.
That's a very funny thing about the way... No, don't. I want to explain that ending to you. A very interesting ending. I said, is 3 a lucky number? She says, no, 7. And I say, my dear madam, and so forth and so forth. It goes to married court to, and where was Hurley? He was standing over there. And I had said, and that is my advice to you, good night. And he was supposed to be listening. Well, it came out, though, didn't it? Morgan will be on this same corner in front of the cigar store again next week at this same time. Thank you very much, and good night.
This is the Henry Morgan Show with Arnold Stang, Bert Kelton, Art Carney, Dora Miranda, Norman Cloutier, conducting the orchestra, and the Billy Williams Quartet. Morgan himself will be back on this corner in front of the cigar store next week at this same time. The Henry Morgan Show is produced by Kenneth McGregor.
So fast, you're sure.
This is Ed Hurley. That's nice and clear. Good night, everybody.
Remember, Tuesday night is Laugh Night on the CBC's Trans-Canada Network, a trio of great comedy shows. In just half an hour from now, it's the Bob Hope Show with Doris Day as vocalist. Fibber, McGee, and Molly come close on the heels of Hope in exactly 1 hour from now with their usual bag of tricks.